That thing, man, it was like standing
Wake
beside the
up.
speaker of the concert, man. I say, oh man, man, that was loud.
Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program is rated for all audiences.
Four guys on sports. Four guys on sports. Four Guys on Sports starts now.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, a minute and a half even.
Yeah.
Where's my
Yes,
camera
sir.
on this thing? The heck? Zoom room 2. Where the heck? Oh, there I am.
Yeah.
I'm up there in the corner where I belong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry I woke you up there, Nate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we
Sir.
that was a little Deep Purple before before we started. That song has one of the best guitar intros I've ever heard. I love that thing. But anyway, welcome back. Good to see everybody's alive and kicking. And
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's been like three weeks, right?
Yeah.
What do you miss? Two back to back, or two back to back?
I think it was 3 back to back. It's been almost a month since we've been in here. But it's been... All right, what the heck's going on here? Why ain't I seeing that where it belongs? Maybe I better refresh this. Hang on, guys. I want to make sure this is working. Hey, there's Nate. That must be working.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, it's been a minute, and it's been more than a minute since Nate's been in here.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you again, Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good to be seen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand part of what you're going through and all that.
What we've been through
What we've been through. Yeah, everyone so far. It's always something. That's that road called life.
What they say. I remember Mama used to say, they can kill me, but they can't eat me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know,
I know these clowns, they might try to eat me, though. I don't know.
But anyway, as my pastor always says, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes almost level to the ground.
Sometimes below the ground.
Yeah.
Man.
Sometimes you think you're digging a China.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been good. Things, of course, you guys seen pictures of that new love in my life. She's got a twinkle in my eye.
How did you settle on that one, man? I mean, what made that one be the one, man?
You know, okay, I've been looking, and price was a factor. And then also, I looked at, to be honest with you, I had a really good price on a Honda Goldwing, but it was like, I kind of wanted to go in, I kind of didn't, because first off, that Goldwing is so wide and it sits a little bit higher. And, you know, hadn't been on a bike in a while. I wanted something that when I'm sitting still,
You
I'm
put your feet
really
down.
comfortable. My feet are really, really comfortable. It's no, so,
Yeah.
and then I wanted something I wanted something kind of loud, and I really wanted a Harley, but I didn't want to spend money for a Harley. And then what a lot of folks instructed me was, hey, look, a lot of times when you get a used Harley, you probably have some maintenance problems with them.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas the Gold Wing, and I did not now that I think about it, I didn't know that if I had done more research. The Honda Gold Wing, man, those things get a couple 100,000 miles or better on them if you take care of them like a car. Mm-hmm. And for me to put 100,000 miles on a motorcycle, that I don't even see myself doing that, But
So you ain't gonna ride it. You're not gonna get on that thing and roll the Maryland on it, huh?
probably
Man,
not.
it had to be about a group of 20 of y'all. Yeah, I wouldn't do that, man.
Yeah, and that would be the way I would do something like that, take a long trip. But the Gold Wing would be a more comfortable bike to do it on, because I looked at cruisers and touring bikes. I looked at the racing bikes a little bit just because they're fun to ride. They're very nimble. But the one I have is kind of chopped a little bit, and it's more of a cruiser, so to speak. The style I have is a cruiser. And then you have the touring bikes with like the Gold Wings and the Harley Road Glides and all those Ultra Glides and those things. And those come with the fancy radio stereo systems and all that. So they're fun. They are a lot of fun to ride. And the thing I like about the Harley, though, although they're heavy, if you drop it, that joker ain't going all the way over because you got all the side stuff on there and the bars and everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be a little bit easier to get up versus mine's 635 pounds empty. On a full tank, it's like 650 pounds. So if I drop that joker, it's going to be a struggle for me to get that up.
Man, I know that.
Yeah. So it's a heavy bike. It's a 1300. And the other part of that was I didn't want something too small, because I looked at like a 900 and that would be okay. But anything below that for me, I know probably within 2 months, I'd be wishing I got something bigger.
Isn't it funny how fast? Look at this. Think about when we were young, boy. If you had a 700, 750 back in the day, man, you had something, man.
That big bike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now it's like, man, that's a toy.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. When they came out with the 1000s, because there's people out there buying 500s and 650s, but and some of those, I tell you this, some of those racing bikes, they are still like 650s and 700, 800 cc's. Some of them 1,000 cc. But those things they're just fast.
Yeah, because they're a lot lighter.
They're a lot lighter, and they're just the way that the engine is built on those. But now they have the Kawasaki Hayabusa. I can't remember the way you pronounce it. But that thing there, over 200 miles an hour.
Yes, that's ridiculous.
And
without any real protection.
The thing of it is, of course, if I had one, I wouldn't go that fast, but they're still fun to ride because they're so nimble. Man, but what I have is a little more, probably cruising speed for me is probably 80, 90 miles an hour. I mean, it'll go faster than that, but
right.
But it's not going. I'm not going to get out there. I couldn't get out there and run 150, 160 miles an hour.
So what made you settle out, man? You got that color. I was like, oh, you got that for me, because I remember we were kids. We got our bicycles. I do remember yours was yellow and mine was red.
Mm-hmm.
So we snuck up in the attic to see them bikes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you got that? You must have got that with me in mind or something. I was like, you must have another one, a yellow one somewhere.
Well, Nate, the thing of it was that when I looked at it, and I like the color, but it's actually more of an orange. Now, it comes across
kind of look red on the thing.
It comes across as red, but it's more of an orange. orangish red, maybe more orange than red. See it, but it's a good looking bike. It's got the matte black trim with the heads on that V-twin are black. The engine basically is black, and then I got the black rims and everything. So I went and got me a black helmet, to match the bike.
You get a real helmet or one of them throwback little helmets, man?
No, I got the modular, so it comes all the way down. I have it come under the chin. Well, I can flip it down. It's modular, and then I can flip the mask up, the shield up, or I can pull the shield down. Or sometimes I just flip all that up and just put the chin strap under it. But it comes all the way down here, it protects my ears and everything. Because there's some guys I know that they have the ones just kind of come across here like a bowl, and they do different things.
Yeah, right. The little throwback helmet, man, look like make you think, man, you doggone part of a 1940s football team. One of the original Ohio teams, man.
Well, see, now a lot of those guys that use those, they use the riding cruisers. The one I have not cruise, but touring bikes. But the one I have, or cruisers, and then the one I have is more what the guys that ride racing bikes have.
Yeah, something to protect that head, man.
I'm really trying to protect myself. Yeah. But anyway, man, I could talk for a while on it because I'm loving it. I would have rode it today, but it was a little damp out still, and the road's a little bit wet. And besides that, I got to go get a haircut from here, and then I'm going to have to swing back by, pick up my grandson. We'll take him with me, get a haircut. So, but anyway, that was that, man. I could talk for a while on that thing, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I'm very careful. Part of it is me getting used to it, but also I'm going to continue. I pray that I always, use good judgment when riding.
Yeah. Amen. All right. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, no problem. Everybody's got to catch up,
Get that bike info, man. Yeah.
What I didn't really catch, Gordon. What bike did you actually get?
I got a Yamaha Striker.
Okay.
And it is the little brother to the Yamaha Raider, which my nephew Stephen has there in Akron. The Raider is 1900cc. It's a monster.
That's a big.
It looks very similar, but his is just bigger.
Yeah.
And probably a couple hundred pounds heavier. And with them being, have the sweep from the forks a little bit, more chop style. It takes a minute to get used to the steering of it, but once you get used to it, it's cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice bike.
Yeah.
Let's get into what some of the topics we have today are.
Sir.
I guess the elephant in the room is the playoffs and basketball. What we got going there? What are you guys thinking?
The brackets.
The college brackets now. Who's in it now?
We got. Let me see what.
Because we're down to the 16.
Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. Excuse me. Yeah, Elite Eight. And
We got.
Yeah, we got one more or 2 more weeks of March Madness.
Yeah, but you got this starting. I think today you got Florida and Texas Tech, and then you also have Duke and Alabama today, and then tomorrow you got Houston at Tennessee, and Auburn and Michigan State.
Now, I'm going to pull for Texas Tech and Houston just because they're Texas teams, but I think Tech is going to go down.
Like Duke Alabama's game is going to be the game of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
In terms of scoring.
And man, I'm looking at these players, man. Some of these players, these guys, NBA is going to be, from what I've seen this year, because I didn't I hadn't watched much of it, but from just looking at it and checking online and everything, NBA is going to be in good shape, man. They got some kids coming in, and I think we're going to see kids that are a bit more mature as far as how they handle themselves off the hardwood, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we've seen the John Morant, the dude is amazing, but you know, but I like the fact that you're going to see some that are represent themselves better.
Yeah.
Represent the league for, that word. But because we're going to see it for too long, because LeBron can no longer be the face of the league forever because he's going to retire after. He doesn't have that many more years behind. He's not going to put in another 20-something years. 20 years. I don't think he's going to put another 20 years.
Oh boy!
And so yeah, in that, one of the teams I think is going to go down that I'm kind of pulling for is Texas Tech.
I think let me see what I had. Teams.
It is what it is, dude. They just, they usually always somewhere around there, and that's Nate went to school in that area and all that, so he may be a little bit of a
my final two I have in my X predictions were Auburn and Houston. So.
Yeah, Houston Stout.
What about
so you wow. So you think that Duke is going to go down and
not this week, but yeah, this week.
You don't have them going to the championship.
I had Alabama.
Oh.
what?
Sonia.
Just hang up on it. Anyway,
Wow.
what are we doing as far as NBA playoffs and that? We got that coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still got a ways to go there, though. But it's interesting. It's playing out pretty interesting, though. I mean, because Cleveland's starting to. I don't know if they're getting tired now or everybody's kind of.
I was afraid when Cleveland came on as big as they did in the beginning. I was afraid that they were going to burn out, and I think that's what's happening. They're starting to burn out up here.
But it is the NBA. It's no one's going to go through the NBA undefeated in the NBA. But yeah, I mean they're still.
They're still in contention.
Yeah, obviously,
Very much.
They're still, going to be one of the most likely two teams to represent the Eastern Conference. In the NBA playoffs. But they definitely have a chink in their armor. But I still think it's going to come down between them and Boston.
Yeah,
that's right.
In that East.
It always seems like we get them
wide open, though.
There always seems like we get them, and they usually tear us apart.
Well, the thing of it is with Cleveland is this: if you look at them, and I was talking to a coworker, and he brought up something. He said, now they have some other players that have really come along, but basically, unlike Boston, you got those guys. You got the Tatum, the Brown. And then what's his name? The head shave now, White.
Oh yeah, White. Yeah.
And then they bring it in. They got Porzingis back. He's healthy, and you don't need a whole lot from him. But
But
he's
he
a
can do a
contributor.
lot.
He's going to contribute. And he stretches the floor as a big. You have they bring those guys off the bench, Pritchard and who's the other kid? White kid, both of them.
Yeah.
Pritchard and those guys, they come in and they just shoot lights out. They're so deep. When I look at Cleveland, you got Mitchell and you got was Garland. And if those two together don't combine for at least 40 or 50 a night.
I don't know. Cleveland is pretty doggone deep team. They're a very deep team.
Ty Jerome comes in and plays for either one of those.
Cleveland's a very deep team. It's just that they're not. I just don't see them. I look at it like this. You look at Cleveland's. Okay, who you want to say is Cleveland's two best players? I don't know. Maybe you say it's their backcourt. But if you say that, you look at Boston's two best players. And not only is Boston's two best players good offensive players, but they're great defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say the same thing on Cleveland's side. I mean, Garland and Mitchell ain't guarding nobody. Not really. It's not like they're not turnstiles, but they're not like, they're not going to guard nobody.
You know what? This is what I see from them. Okay. Last year in the finals, when we saw Dallas make it to the finals, and then nobody could shoot the ball other than Kyrie and Luka, and they bottled Kyrie up. They harassed him. And Luka, he loves to a defender. He's not
bounce.
And so a defender he's not, but although when you look at his style of play, there's definitely some flaws in it, but at the same time, he seems to drag some teams to the finals. Now, saying that, don't get me wrong, Dallas, I still say if you put Kyrie and Luka together, the two of them, just what Nate pointed out, the two of them offensively, they are better than Tatum and Brown offensively. But on most nights, they are clearly they're better finishers. But in looking at Garland and Mitchell, offensively, especially Mitchell he a flat out dog. That dude is something different. But as Nate said, defensively, Nate brought out he brought out a valid point there. And I still say the Boston team overall is a deeper team.
Yeah, I think they're a deeper team, but Cleveland is pretty deep. They're a pretty deep team.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that, I just think Cleveland still has. Both of those teams have some chinks in their planes. They're both teams are beatable.
Oh yeah,
we've seen that throughout the season.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say those are your two best teams. Now, and then Tatum is hurt right now.
Yeah.
But the playoffs is a ways off yet, so he's got plenty of time to come back. It's not that serious of an injury; it's an ankle injury, I believe it is. So, I think they'll be fine. And plus, man, the team is, Tatum and Brown remind me of. It's not that they're the same caliber player of a LeBron was, but in terms of being blessed with the good fortune to have early introduction to the playoffs, man, in their career. And I mean, if you figure they were going up against Cleveland in their early stages, and now here they are, man, in the prime, and they still got several years to play. So, man, that team has been tested, and they're growing, and they're just getting better, man. They're learning and learning. It's to the point to where I believe that they believe that they're supposed to be there. And that's a whole nother level of a mindset. It's like believing that you're supposed to be somewhere is different than you on this journey trying to get there. It's like, man, we gonna be there. We're supposed to be there.
Exactly.
And how dare you stop us?
Yeah.
Different mindset.
And I'll say this: Cleveland is a better team offensively than Dallas was last year. Because when you look at it, as I pointed out, when PJ couldn't hit, beyond that, the rest of them dudes out there, Gafford and Lively, unless you were throwing them lobs, they represent no offensive threat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. And defensively, Cleveland's a beast. So overall they're a good defensive team. Now Mitchell and Garland didn't like their defense.
And so is Dallas.
Overall,
after that trade, they were a good defensive team, but at the same time, you got to be able to make shots too.
You can't forget about Mobley.
And Mobley, he's to me, Mobley is probably their third best player.
Yeah.
Some nights.
Some nights
is Jared Allen. Man.
Well, when you look at it all around, I like Mobley because he's going to give you some points. He's going to give you some rebounds. He's going to contest shots. He does what a big's supposed to do. The old days of just putting your back to the basket and using brute strength, you're not going to see much of that. The only player that can do that, and he can do both now, is one of the few is you got Joel Embiid and Jokic and
Jokic, yep.
Yeah. You got
Jokic all around, man.
Yeah. And so is Joel. Joel just he's not going to stay healthy.
Can't stay healthy, man. He's
he's not.
Unfortunately.
I thought it was silly for the Mavericks to even try and bring AD back at this point in the season. It's done for. I mean, do you realize that Dallas had to do some waiver stuff because those 10-day contracts and all that other stuff that they had to do, they had to get the league to do some waiver stuff because they were going to have to forfeit games. They had so many injuries.
And there again, you have this injury thing has always just kind of baffled me. And what do you do to prevent? And it's not just basketball that's got it. Yeah. Baseball to a point has. Football is off the wall with it.
Yeah.
What do what's causing the issues? Is it the players just going at it?
I tend to think it's I think that the diet is it. I think that, to be honest, man, I think that the quality of food, I think that, first of all, some of it's clearly your choice in eating. And, a lot of these people come up, a lot of these folks in the league, they came up, they're not like coming from like really good homes, not in terms of like, I'm not talking about the quality of parenting. I'm talking about in terms of the ability to be able to eat better foods is what I'm saying. They don't have a lot of resources. I think a lot of them. I'm not saying that's 100% applicable, but I'm saying a lot of cases.
That's what you got. That's what you got trainers for.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is that later after you get there, they can start they can take control of that better because they have more money now. They can make better choices, get folks to help them and teach them this, that, and the other. But I'm saying it is hard to overcome, some of these habits. Some of these things have been formed out of habit. You've been eating a certain way, and what you've been eating have not necessarily been best for your physical well-being.
Okay.
And so they're running like high-octane vehicles, but the problem is, you put in low-grade fuel in them. And over time, it works good, but it begins to deteriorate over time. Okay. And I think that that's what we see a lot of times because, we're calling on these young folks to play at such a high level, push their bodies to the max. And what's going in them a lot of times have not been inducive of that. So, they need to make these programs, these changes, like you say, these trainers. And I think that these, you can't like just step in and take control of a person's life. They have to take some individual responsibility for it. But I'm saying it is partly a mindset is that you got to reverse some of what you, quote unquote, been taught to do. though you've been taught that maybe out of ignorance, or out of necessity because you didn't have a choice. But now you got to say, wait a minute, this is terrible, because you got to get some better nutrients in you. But I think also too is that, it brings into question, something, at another level too, the quality of the food that we get. I think that a lot of the food now too is just of a poor quality, because I think you got to keep in mind how much food is produced in the laboratory now. It wasn't always like this. I mean, a lot of food is produced in order to, offset against some of the natural trends or things that's taking place for food to be able to grow in a sustainable way naturally. They found a way to offset some of that, and come in with hybrid methods in order to mass produce, so we have enough, to go around. And so there's a lot of things I think that contribute to the way in which, we have these injuries, because you have these folks playing at such a tremendous level, but the fuel in them, it's just like taking a high octane sports car, and using a low grade, a bunch of gas in there with a bunch of ethanol in it and all this nonsense. And you just, over time, you're going to ruin it.
Well, Nate, I hear what you're saying, and it's good. A couple things. First off, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And I say this, okay, first off now, especially, let's say high school sports in general. When you come here, you playing football at some of these football powerhouse schools here, they have training and dietary deals to teach you like you would get in college.
Yeah.
And college has moved up past that. But a couple of things. Okay. We look at now bigger, stronger, faster athletes than ever before. That's the other part of that puts on their body. And then the other part of that is there's so much more coverage on health and of these athletes now than we got in years past. Now, I'm going to say this. People don't realize, for instance, LeBron James, for a long time, he was kind of like an Iron Man, okay? It's catching up with him now. But that man is going to have problems with his ankles and feet for the rest of his life, okay? Steph Curry, he's going to have problems with his ankles the rest of his life. These are things that people don't even know about these guys because of and they play through a lot. And back in the day, what they used to do was they would just give you a shot of cortisone, and I'm gonna bring back something to your memory. Larry Bird, remember that game? He couldn't even move. They went in there and gave him a shot of cortisone, and the dude came out and hit him with a 40-piece. Okay? Now, that man's back is so messed up to this day because of that. And then now players are smarter about Kawhi, for instance. They're smarter about, oh, no, I'm going to talk to my doctor. Because the team doctor going to say, you ready to go. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that's going into that. Yeah. And I'm going to say this. The way these cats, just basketball alone, I'm not even going to touch football right now because football is a much more physical sport. But the way these cats run and jump, I'm going to tell you something. Your knees aren't built for that. The body isn't really meant to do what these guys are doing. And they have trained at such a young age, and they've gotten to a point where they are the game. We can compare the Jordans and the Birds and all that other stuff. Those guys, and overall, Jordan was a little bit ahead of his time, but his ball skills nowhere close to these guys today. Nowhere close. None. Nowhere close. Anybody that says that doesn't really watch the game. Now, to say this, for the most part, those guys just weren't the athletes that these guys are today. You know, they can talk about, it was more physical, you bang more. But, man, nobody was jumping like that. How many 7-footers could shoot like these? That's normal now. If you can't shoot a 3, you don't belong in the league now. You know, it's almost to that point. So, you can't handle the ball and you 7 foot tall, you don't belong in the league. You know, the thing of it is that so the demand on the player is so much more. And so we're seeing a lot more injuries. And when these guys when it's all said and done, They're going to have knee problems, back problems. And then football, that's just taking it to a whole another level. Baseball, every pitcher in their league can throw 100 miles an hour now. You know, supposedly, yeah, well, or pretty dang close. Ain't a major league out there that you can stand up there in the batter box and you couldn't even see the daggone ball. I couldn't see the ball. We couldn't see the ball, man. Wait, we talking about the bottom of the pitching order.
When you, as far as baseball with the shoulder injuries and stuff like that happen, that's another thing as far as your nutrition and bone building and all that goes. You have, Shawn and I can probably both attest to this at one point or another. Your whole system revolves around your blood, and they have so many tests for the blood stuff anymore that they should be able to see some of this stuff coming, I would think, as far as bone building and stuff like that with the things that are in your blood that are supposed to build this stuff. I don't see why they don't use some of that stuff even more. And along with, but that would fall in with what we were saying a couple minutes ago, as far as, you've got to have a decent nutrition plan in order to perform at a normal or extra normal rate. Some of these kids, they come out of there, they're all McDonald's and fast food, and let's just eat whatever we can get our hands on, and they go after a good steak and red meat and all that. You're going to learn sooner or later that stuff ain't no good for you.
Unfortunately, we wait till we are much older to make that realization.
And my wife just made a comment, well, you still eat it. I ain't an athlete.
Well,
I never said I was an athlete, and I never will.
And don't get me wrong.
I'm just a fat, grumpy old man.
Well, you're a couch quarterback, man.
But in that though, I don't do it on a daily basis. My daughter, hey, she fixed some breakfast this morning. I ate 2 slices of bacon. I don't normally eat that. Tastes good to me, But my point is that on occasion I'll eat but I don't eat like that. I eat spinach or some green vegetables 7 days a week in general, but I probably eat spinach and salmon 5 days a week, easy, sometimes more.
As far as the salmon goes, you need to watch that too, because of the mercury content in it.
Well, yeah, but
salmon's good, but
I think in general and some days, like I say, 5 days, because sometimes it's tuna or what's the other fish? Oh gosh, it just went on my head right now. But I eat so much fish and quite a bit of chicken is what I eat most of the time. Now, the other week, I got a ribeye, and it was good. And it felt good to have that ribeye. Now, I couldn't eat all of it at once. I wound up eating part of it for dinner on that Sunday, and then the other part for lunch that Monday. But still, I seen a time when I was younger, man, I could have sopped up a ribeye and a half.
Oh, yeah, I still can.
But it's funny, though. Go ahead, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Oh, good.
I was going to say, it's funny, though, because it kind of takes me back. I'm thinking about these young kids and their eating, though, as they're athletes. and this I remember. This is a real story. I remember I would get out of basketball practice, okay, and before coming home, I would hit McDonald's on the way home because when I was at Central, you got to come downtown and whatnot there. I come down there to that McDonald's right there across from the library. I would literally get a Big Mac, a fillet of fish, and a quarter pounder with cheese.
Holy crap.
And a root beer soda. And I knock all that out. And then by the time I got home, I go ahead and, eat dinner. And I'm like, your appetite when you're young like that, and you play sport, your appetite is so huge. But the thing is, though, is just the decisions that you make, in terms of what you eat, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is insane.
It is.
And so I think about, man, I could put it away, man. I mean, it was nothing. I mean, it was nothing. Or either, I put it like this. It wasn't too many times that I was going to go there and leave with one sandwich. I put it that way, And now, man, oh my God, man, I wouldn't touch McDonald's, man, with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, their fillet of fish is still really good.
I can't fool with it no more, though, man. But I will say I did have Arby's and with Popeyes. They now have a because they go through the seasonal time to offer the fish sandwich, and I guess I'm putting out a little shout out for them because, man, I had one was that last week? Yeah, last week I had one from Popeyes, had from Arby's. Yeah, it's really good. But just in general, don't eat that kind of crap, man. I haven't eaten that stuff in a long time. And as far as the red meat, I haven't really done that since like 95. But the point is, though, is that, growing up, though, as a young person, man, trying to get a young person to have good eating habits is a challenge. But it catches up with you, And so some of these things we see these athletes going through, even though maybe they've made the change now, a lot of that still, man, they've been stuffing that stuff in their head for a long time, man.
Mm-hmm.
They've been putting it in for a long time.
But again, I say a big portion of it is the demand on the body in general. I don't care what you eat, it's going to break down. And then the other part of it, like they say, when we're young, oh man, I can put it away. I look back sometime and I think about it. It was 5 of us boys. I don't know how they fed us. Man, because we could all put it away.
We could all eat. And but you think about, go ahead.
Man, well, just your metabolism is so high though, Nate. At that point, your body is full of testosterone and all these things that over a period of time tend to decline. But man, hey, look here, man. The thing with the food was it sat still long enough. It got ate. The only way we weren't gonna eat food is if the food could get up and run away from us.
And think about it. Here's what's funny. I know we talk about sports, but the two, obviously, the nutrients and the game runs hand in hand. And think about the size of a what we call holiday meals. The amount of food that was prepared for a holiday meal. I mean, my goodness, man. I mean, there would be turkey. There would be ham. There may be, a pot roast, there too, and then all kinds of sides, tater salads and collard greens and macaroni and I mean, it would be so much food. And I just think about that sometimes. It's insane, man. The food that a young person can put away.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I hear you. But you know what? When you say that, because of my wife, well, bless her heart, she can't do what she used to do because she's, her health is different now. And my oldest daughter, the girl's kind of taking over, and my oldest daughter is a bit more practical when it comes to food and everything. But we still have some humongous spreads because everybody will bring something, and usually if they're all together at our house, and then we're preparing most of the protein. We're preparing most of the meat. And my wife, to this day, at Thanksgiving, she always wants that turkey in the oven because I'm going to smoke one or fry it, do that. And so we'll have 2 turkeys because of how she is. But yeah, we still do the humongous spreads, and then depends on what Shawn and Sonia are bringing, and then the other children, Brian and Megan and Mark, all the kids, they're bringing stuff, or whomever else. It may not be just the immediate family, so everybody's bringing something, and we look around and we have so much food. We have way too much.
Yeah, it's nothing for us to do 2 turkeys. Even now, with the 5 of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does get eaten.
Yeah.
But when you get a 17, 18-pound turkey, you got to figure there's probably 2 or 3 pounds of bones in there.
Yeah.
And by the time you take that out, you're down to about 12 or 13 pounds of turkey. And each person I figured this all out once. Each person averages about 1.5 pounds of turkey during a Thanksgiving dinner like that. Wow. Even with the sides and stuff like that.
And if you look at your macros, the way you're supposed to eat, no more than 4 ounces of a protein during a sitting.
Thanksgiving. What do you want?
Exactly. Yeah. So my point, you're looking at 3 or 4 times.
I'm giving thanks every time for every bite I eat. Oh, thank God for that.
Amen.
Oh, I'm not hungry no more. Thank God for that.
Here's the thing. How many people eat at a Thanksgiving and don't get sick?
Or don't get over full. Don't overeat.
Yeah, don't get over full. I use that word.
Yeah. Everybody does it. I especially Thanksgiving, man, that's my favorite holiday for the fact of as far as the gathering together, because I eat myself unconscious, watch football, wake up and do it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I make this chocolate cream pie that I only make it once a year, and it's made with an Oreo crust, an Oreo cookie crust, and then I put a chocolate pudding in that, and then I top it with chocolate whipped cream, and you can take and shave. If you have a bar of chocolate, you can take and shave the chocolate. You can shave the chocolate over top of it. Mm. Well, I can only eat that once a year, and it's usually Thanksgiving because, man, that stuff it's so good. I'd eat half a pie by myself.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds kind of like what was that they used to make? They call it a dirt cake, and it had Oreo cookies, and the filling was almost a puddingish like filling. Yeah, but that. Wow, we need to change. Oh, what time is it? Yeah.
Yeah, we got about another 12 minutes for the hour. So let's just do that. I do want to talk about one of our favorite subjects here before we, because we haven't had a chance to even catch up with Nate since all of this. Everything's been happening since the end of football for the year. Nate, I got to ask you, buddy, what the hell happened to your Commanders?
They were robbed.
I've been wanting to do. I've waited to do that since the middle of February.
I love my little brother.
We was robbed. We was robbed.
What did you think I was? What did you think I was going to say? No,
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 they just maybe he may say, "Man, we got our hat handed to us."
they were, you know, they weren't ready, and I don't think the moment was too big. I just think they weren't ready. I mean, they just simply weren't good enough, and you know, obviously need some more pieces, you know, and but I do think this. I think it was a great experience for him. More importantly, with that experience, what was exposed during that time. Hopefully, you take that exposure and use that for opportunity to learn and go out and add the pieces that you need in order to be more complete, so you can compete. You know, this coming season here. But yeah, you can't be disappointed in the season they had. Because I'll be honest, man. Everybody, I listen to some of these sports heads talking now, and they want to pretend like, oh yeah, they were supposed to do that. No, they weren't. No one had would have believed that the Commanders would have been performing at the level they were performing. You know, they came back. You know, they done a marvelous job. So yeah.
Yeah,
they had a marvelous season, and no one. If people are being really honest, no one expected the Commanders to have that kind of a season. Not even close. You know, it was a dream season, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, let's change gears here a little bit and talk about the future and what's happened since. Mr. Belichick, for instance, going to North Carolina, college.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is he going to make it?
We'll see.
We'll see on that one, because this will be more of, I think he may fare very well. It depends on how well they recruit, of course, but I think part of the thing of it is he has to be in control, and that's a place where he could be more in control. So we'll see.
We'll see. His other partner in crime is now the defensive coordinator there at Ohio State, Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I saw that, which I think is a pretty decent pick. To be honest, with what they've lost, what Ohio State's lost this past year.
Really, too, because man, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. From what I saw from University of Texas, they're gonna be back strong next year, because they didn't lose much. They had a very young team.
I was on that same subject. I was very impressed with Ohio State, how they recovered from Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that pretty much could have destroyed that team, and I will give kudos above kudos to Coach Day.
Yeah,
as far as he recovered that, he was the main drive that recovered that team from that loss. And you had to think about it. It basically all it was. It was a game. You know, it was, and that goes along the lines of any given Sunday or Saturday for their. You know, anybody. What was it? Vince Lombardi said any team can beat any other team on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
And I will, for them to make the number one spot, it was just very impressive, even though they lost two games.
And
I agree with that, because what I'm thinking is that first of all, I'm not only proud of the coach here, the way they finished up, but I'm proud of the team, because if you look at this, the prior year, you know, cats leaving, going to other program, all this nonsense. What that showed you is that you didn't have what it takes to play in this program, this highly scrutinized, high visible, you know, much visibility there when you play at Ohio State. The expectations are off the hook. and you didn't have it. So getting out of there, running somewhere else, that was the right thing because you didn't have what it took. Those guys that stayed there, those guys they brought in, when they lost, they took those losses for them were motivation. They used that and they came out and competed harder. They tried to make the necessary adjustments to take the game, their strategy, the way in which they attacked. They were more aggressive, more deliberate, came out a little differently.
Yep.
So kudos to everything. It's like you had 100% buy-in.
Yes.
So and you have to contrast it to the previous season. You had players skedaddling, getting out of town, running to other programs, which said that look, when you lost, you couldn't handle it. You weren't strong enough as a person, your personality, your mentality to make the necessary adjustments to compete at the level to win. So it was, it says a lot. It says a lot, and it says also something like you should have left. Because that's clearly what it looks like when you look at that, because it takes some mental adjustment, because when you think that you're the best and you get beat, man, it's like, wait a minute, either you're gonna crumble, which is what a lot of people did, they crumbled, or you're gonna take that thing and it's gonna be personal, and you're gonna say, you know what, man, this ain't going, man, we're gonna get this thing, and that's what I like right there. That's what I look at, man. Yeah.
Well, again, like I said, like everybody, and I think we all agree, and we said this, Nate, you weren't here at the time, but I said we went on record saying, I think before, that one of the best things could have happened to them was losing to Michigan. And the way they did and the aftermath of it, because I don't think they would have been there had that not happened. And as they say, what won't kill you makes you stronger. That was it. That I'm out.
I concur.
Well, I'm looking towards this next year. As far as the NFL draft and stuff like that goes, Cleveland's got the number 2 pick. What do you guys think's going to happen with that pick? Are we going after a quarterback?
I don't think so.
Bill Carter, man.
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And the reason I say that is what quarterback out there is going to make that much of a change? It's not that in college. Let's look at the draft. They're not like those aren't the top players in the draft, aren't the quarterbacks.
But you know what? Having said that, man, when you think about this thing, it's so hard to say because we all know we say this quarterback got to wind up in the right position at the right time. We always say that. But I'll be honest, man. Did anybody think that when Joe Burrow came out and went to Cincinnati, and first of all, he was objectionable about going there initially. He did not want to go there. But Joe Burrow went to Cincinnati. Did we think that Joe Burrow was going to turn Cincinnati around like that? No. Honestly, not even almost, right? So, and same thing with C.J. Stroud. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. So I'm saying that to say this is that you never know. But the one thing that seems consistent with a Cleveland team, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take, but I know that they're kind of close, tight-lipped about what they're going to do. But I know a lot of your talking heads, is thinking that Cleveland, could potentially draft, one of these 2 top quarterbacks. But like you say, I don't know if it'll help. I just don't think that they have the culture for any quarterback to come there and change it around. I don't think Cleveland has that culture. I just don't think they have that culture. For that to happen, not for a young quarterback, for a veteran, quarterback that's already proven to come in and kind of, allow his personality to help shake up things and shape things. I think, but for a young quarterback to come in and for them to know how, I just don't know if they have that kind of culture.
The one thing about this whole business with this pick, personally, I don't see. There was several scenarios that have happened over the last 3 or 4 months. You had Myles Garrett, who was threatening to leave. Mm-hmm. They ended up making him the highest paid non quarterback in the league. Now he's number. I think he's at 3 now. Isn't that
Number
right, Sean?
2.
2 or 3?
Number 2 because Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that Chase actually got more money.
$1 million more.
What would have been an interesting scenario is there were several teams that wanted him. Chicago wanted him, and Chicago was willing to give up 2 first-rounders, a second, I think at 45, and then a couple of thirds. Would have been, that would have been a blockbuster as far as
Yes.
for Cleveland.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Well, but I saw a couple of Myles Garrett interviews, and they asked him, "Why did you decide to stay?" He says, he looks at the camera, he says, "Something wonderful's about to happen." That's all he said. I can't say more.
Yeah, his bank account about to.
It might. I understand.
I can understand that too. What it come down to, though, is the fact he's making that kind of money. Even if they don't go to the Super Bowl or anything like that, he'll still go to the NFL. He'll still go to Canton. Okay, now that that's over with, let's take and talk about this number 2 pick. You've got 3 or 4 quarterbacks out there that don't deserve to be above number 20. Let's face it. They're not that good.
I don't know about that now.
Yeah, I would go as high as about 15. But they just don't deserve. They're not that great.
I don't know. I don't know. I might say maybe they're in the top 10.
Do you think there's anybody out there that's worth a second pick as far as a quarterback? I don't think so.
Would say
if you were talking about
you need a quarterback, you probably want to do it.
Yeah, but see, I think we're looking at it from the eyes of Cleveland. We need a miracle worker in Cleveland.
Okay.
And no, ain't no miracle workers there.
If you looked at it this week, you know where Stefanski was at this week? He was at the Ole Miss Pro Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jackson Dart. That's the name to watch.
Okay, now what you do with this second pick, and you guys kind of hang with me for a second here. If you take that second pick and trade down to 5 or 6, you don't have to trade far. I don't want them trading out of the top 10. You get down to 5 or 6, then you pick. You get a couple extra picks in the draft, and you can also go after whatever player you want at 5 or 6, 7. I'm thinking 7 probably. And you trade with the 7 trades up to 2, and you trade back to 7. You can still you're still going to get something in the top 10. Something considered.
Yeah, here's the assumption though. I can't remember who has that pick, but if the team that has that pick also needs a quarterback, then no. If the team that has that pick wants to get another position, I think that could work out great for you.
I think so too. So my opinion.
I gotta go.
Okay, let's. We can talk about this in a later show. We'll go ahead and wrap this for today. I gotta get out of here too. I got people coming to the house at 12:30, and it's already. Well, we'll see what happens.
It's 12:30.
Anyway, we're out of here. You all have a blessed week. Mm-hmm. We will see you next week. Hopefully, see you next week, Nate. We will be here.
Sir.
And
yes, sir.
Have a great one, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us, and we gone. This is